Pennsylvania. We're at Berwick, somewhere around there. We're on Interstate 80, and working our way across all the way to Washington State. Whoa, Washington State, yeah. We got unloaded in Warren on Monday, and I sit around there for a couple hours waiting for dispatch to figure out what to do. They had to run up to New Hampshire and pick up this trailer. It's just a drive-in. It's an extra lease drive-in, and pick it up and take it to it's furniture, household movers stuff. Where are we going to? Oh, Mount Vernon, Washington. It's up there north of Seattle. Woo! 3,000-mile run, 100-mile deadhead, and a 3,000-mile run. That's a good one. The only bad thing, it's wintertime. Snow up there in the mountains. You know, you get out there in Idaho and Wyoming and Idaho and Oregon, places like that. They got the snow and everything up there. So I've been kind of looking at the weather and trying to think. The weather looks pretty good. It's snowing out there in Idaho right now, kind of northern Idaho. I've got all day today to figure out which way I want to go. So later on, when I get over closer to Chicago, at Chicago, I got to make my decision. Do I go across 80, or do I go north and get up on 90, or do I keep going north and go up all the way up to 94? So I'm going to have to figure that out by the time I get to Chicago. Because Chicago's kind of the fork of the road. So I better get this, and so we'll holler at you later. Amigo, you are on camera. I'm doing videoing and you called. Looky there, scales is closed. We're in the Quad Cities. We're actually in Moline, Illinois, and this is the scale on the loop 280 loop going around the south side of the cities. got to looking on the Trucker Path app, and it showed the other scale going around on 80 is open. This one was closed. So let's go the way that they are closed. What we got going today? We are on our way out west, heading to, where are we going? Mount Vernon, Washington. And I am perplexed on this this weather they got up there. I'd like to go up and go across 90 because, believe it or not, it's actually warmer in Montana than it is down in Wyoming and Utah. So I'd rather go that way, but there's a pass over there called Lookout Pass. So between Montana and the Idaho border, and it shows that they're getting quite a bit of snow up there right now, and there are chain laws in effect and all that kind of stuff. So that's a tire chains. So the other way is go across 80. It's a little bit longer mileage-wise, but there's only one pass going. Well, there's two passes going that way. One is Cabbage. It's in Oregon, and it looks like it's a little bit better shape. So I'll probably end up going that way. Then when you get past Cabbage, you go up into Washington, you got to go across Snoqualmie Pass. That's where I did the truck toboggan race, video a year ago. Anyway, that one is getting a lot of snow, and it's got chain laws in effect too. Damn. Okay, well, I can go around a different route. I can go, once I get down Cabbage, I can just run down through the Columbia River Basin all the way to Portland, and then from Portland head north to Seattle. There's no mountain pass. It's just several miles longer. I don't know, 100, 200 miles longer. I don't know. Anyway, you do what you got to do, So I'm kind of watching the weather on this and trying to figure out which way to go. What else I got going is my fuel gauge, my fuel filter. My fuel filter's getting clogged up. I just changed the oil in this truck, got new oil filters on it, and this thing's already clogging up. Some of it has to do with the weather, warm weather, cold weather, warm weather, cold weather. On the inside of your fuel tanks, it gets a film built up on the inside of your aluminum fuel tanks, kind of like a coffee film on a coffee pot. You got to wash them every so often. Well, you can't get in there to wash them, so you just deal with it. But it seems that in the winter, those little pieces flake off and then go down through your system and clog your filter up. That's one possibility. The other possibility is this is a 12-year-old truck with 1.5 million miles. There's been a lot of fuel run through this truck over the years. And the fuel lines, it's a rubber hose with a webbing around the outside, kind of like those garden hoses that they advertise, they shrink up into a little bit of nothing, but when you screw them, you screw them to a faucet, you turn them on, and they expand. Okay, fuel hoses are somewhat like that. They don't expand. They're fairly hard rubber, but they have that webbing around the little pothole. They've got this webbing around it so they can't expand outward. Well, the rubber on the inside, after a while, it starts getting, think of waterlogged. Well, it starts getting fuel logged. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it's rubber, and the fuel gets in it. Over the years, it starts to break down the rubber, especially the biodiesel fuel. Biodiesel is not far off of being a solvent. It's very corrosive. That's another way you can clog your filters up, is when you put real heavy, real strong, like 100% biodiesel in your fuel tanks. When you put biodiesel in your fuel tanks, it strips all that stuff, that film off the inner wall of the fuel tanks and the inner wall of the fuel lines and all that. And if you put 100% or 80% or what, really strong biodiesel in, your filters will clog up. Better have extra filters because it's going to clog them up. Because it's basically stripping all the junk off of there and forcing it to go through the fuel lines. And it's a good thing, but it's a bad thing. It's a good thing it cleans it, but it's a bad thing it clogs the filters up. So, with that said, I got to change a fuel filter. I'm going to get over here to Walcott, Iowa, and change the fuel filter and will be on a different video though, but I'm going to go to the, they've got a truck museum up there, so I'm going to try to go to that. I've tried like 2 or 3 times trying to get into this place, and every time I go there, they're closed for some reason. You know, it's, well, they close on Friday. Why would they close on Friday? It doesn't make sense, you know. You'd think that'd be one of the more popular days for, you know, for them to be open, but anyway, they have certain days, and one day I went up there, it was wintry, and the people that run the place didn't come in, you know, or something, I don't know. So anyway, for a couple of reasons, I haven't been able to go to this truck museum. I've been to it years ago when they first built it, but since I've got the channel here, I haven't had a chance to go to it. So that's going to be a little surprise. I'm going to run over and grab, you know, video that, I hope. Hopefully, you know, hopefully they're open. So, all right, that's what we got doing. We're going west. We're going to fight the weather, trying to figure out how to get over the mountain passes. Got to change the oil, fuel filters, and truck museum. So, let's do it, I guess. Okay, let's see what we got here. I went over to the mechanic, and he said those little black specks that were floating around in there, I thought they were the inside of the rubber hose that was starting to degrade and break off piece by piece. And he looked at it and he goes, no, let me see. He poured it, you know, a red shop rag. So he poured it through there to filter it out, then brought it over to the table, and each one of the flakes, he would pick the flake up and it would just dissolve in his fingers. He says rubber wouldn't do that. If it was the rubber flake flaking off, it would stay rubbery, and you could feel it texture-wise. He said this just disintegrated. He says that's more that film that's on the inside of the fuel lines, inside of the fuel tank, inside of the fuel lines, and anywhere along the fuel system, that film gets built up. So, just like this film on my mouth. So anyway, there's the magic moment. Let's see, we're going to start it up now. Let me show you here. Here's my fuel gauge, my fuel filter gauge right here, okay? And you can see it usually runs around 5, you know, down in this area right down in here. When I pulled in here, driving down the highway, it was all the way over to 15. When I shut the engine down to an idle, just sitting here idle, it backed off to about 10, about 11 or so. All right, so here's a brand new primary fuel filter on. Let's see what it does. There it goes. All right. was about 1500 RPM, and I'd be driving down the highway at 1500 RPM. So what it was the primary filter got clogged up, or were starting to clog up. And I pulled it off, and it was a bald one. It was like one of, this is a spare one I had. I always want to carry a spare primary at least. And they had put a bald one on there, and I don't know, do you like Ford, Chevy, or Dodge? It's a matter of opinion a lot of times. Obviously cat filters are the better filters all the way around, but they're much more expensive. So the Baldwin and Fleet Guard and Lubrifiner, they make their own filters, and usually the places I go to get truck oil changes have the Baldwin or the Fleet Guards. This place had Baldwin and Fleet Guard, but I asked them for a Fleet Guard instead of a Baldwin, and see if that one holds up any better. What I assume can possibly, I've seen happen on these, not to myself, because you got to cut the thing open to look inside, but I've seen how what happens is the pleats. Just think it's like a pleated skirt or something inside. There's a paper type filter in here, and there's the pleats. And what happens is the pleats, they collapse in on each other. So a lot of them will collapse over this way, and a lot of them collapse over that way, and then one pleat will open up real wide, and that's the only place you're really getting any filtering done. So I don't know if Baldwin's bad about that. I don't know. There's all kinds of opinions on it. So and another thing that somebody's going to point out is the little O-ring, the gasket washer. I forgot to pull the old washer off and put the new washer on. It's still here. It's still here in my pocket. Get right. Come here. There it is. And I forgot to put it on, but that's only a 5,000, a week-old gasket on there. I'm not overly worried about that. So next time I get the oil change, they'll pull it off, and they're good about taking that off. So I just forgot to do it. Anyway, with that said, let's get back to rolling, I guess.